like to call this meeting of the City of Laredo Historic District Landmark Board to order. We are meeting at Laredo City Hall, June the 9th at noon. May we have staff call the roll?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. Uh, Roll call, Rebecca Sepulveda, Chair.
Present.
Robert D. Gonzalez. Maria Elena Morales.
Present.
Cristina Davila Villarreal.
Present.
Wayne Nance.
Present.
Stanley Green.
Present.
Priscilla Iglesias. Mark Gonzalez.
Present.
Madam Chair, we do have quorum.
Thank you. Item 3 is Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Next item is consider approval of minutes. Out of these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 2 are actual meetings. Is that correct, Roxy?
Yes, ma'am, that is correct.
And then the last 3, April, May 12th, and May 26th, are minutes that reflect there was no quorum.
Correct.
So we can approve them all in a group if you all have no objections.
I so move. I second.
Was there a question?
No, I said I had no objections.
Okay, very good. So there's a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Do I need to read the dates out for the record?
If you'd like, that'd be good.
So we have just approved the minutes of December 9th, 2021, February 10th, 2022, April 14, 2022, May 12th, 2022, and May 26th, 2022. Item 5, citizen comments. Do we have any members of the public who have
No, ma'am, we do not.
requested time? Thank you. Item 6, public hearing and consideration of a motion for construction of a proposed detached carport on an existing historic property identified as Lot 8, Block 146, Western Division, located at 1815 Matamoros Street in the St. Peter's Historic District.
Yes, ma'am, we do have a presentation before we open for public hearing.
Let me go.
It's coming up, I think. There it is.
There it is?
Perfect. Okay. So we have a copy of that on our screens if you go to the Explorer window. It's up there, that PowerPoint.
Want to start? Yes. Thank you, Madam Chair. Item number 6A. The overview. Applicant is Ana G. Volpe. They're the owner and applicant, and Isaac Perez is the representative. Property description is 1815 Matamoros Street in the HRO zone, Historical Residential Office, within the St. Peter's Historic District. The request is the applicant is proposing construction of a detached carport adjacent to the existing residential home. The carport will have a metal panel curved roof, which mimics the curve of an existing gate. While paint does not require Historic District Landmark Board approval, the applicant proposes to paint the proposed carport structure with the same paint as the existing residential structure. Letters sent were 33, and we did not receive any for or against. Citations and violations. There is a current citation. On April 29th of 2022, the applicant received a stop work order citation for construction of a carport without a building permit. On April 2022. The applicant also received a stop work order citation for construction of a carport without approval from the Historic District Landmark Board. This is the aerial view. The front view. Set of plans. This is the front elevation. The right elevation, the side view of the detached carport. The front view of the proposed carport. The back view. Materials used, the carport proposed steel structure components. The top of the structure, the arc, is a high-speed steel 14 gauge thickness HSS4 by 2 by 14 gauge rolled. The column structure is the same material as high-speed steel 4 by 4 by 1/8. The carport steel structure components. The top of the steel on the sides, it is an HSS4 by 2 by 14 gauge. This is the proposed paint and the proposed roof material. The roof material is an R metal panel. This is a sample of it. And the structure will be painted to match the existing color of the residence. It is Sherwin-Williams 7550 Resort Tan. This is a sample of a similar carport of one that has been completed. So the existing carport that is proposed is going to match. Staff recommendation. Staff supports the proposed scope of work as it conforms to the Secretary of Interior standards for rehabilitation and guidelines for rehabilitating historic buildings in the following ways. The detached carport proposed materials and design are similar to and compatible with the existing structure, thus it preserves its historic character. 2, as the carport shall be detached and differentiable from the primary existing structure, possible future removal will not affect the essential form and integrity of the existing historic property. The carport's mass and scale are compatible with the property's existing architecture and will preserve the site's historic character. Staff general comments. Any improvements which are approved by the Historic District Landmark Board shall also comply with the building code requirements and other regulations as provided by the Land Development Code, Laredo Land Development Code. Approved by the Historic District Landmark Board does not guarantee approval of the building permit or any other permits which may be required. It is recommended that all existing improvements utilize the following resource as a guide. The Secretary of Interior Standards for Rehabilitation and Guidelines for Rehabilitating Historic Buildings, City of Laredo Historic Urban Design Guidelines, and the City of Laredo Historic Preservation Plan. The proposed motion to approve or to deny. Madam Chair?
I have a question. When you say that approval of the color is not required, can you explain that?
Go ahead and go down to the screen. That the color is not required? Is that the question?
Yeah, I'm asking for an explanation on the overview where she mentioned, while paint does not require HDLB approval.
At this time, the painting of a building doesn't require it because it's not a permitted process. You don't need a permit to paint. That's been something that we've been talking about because the new ordinance that came out established that. But it is something that people are calling us, asking the question, and we're having to tell them that, no, you don't need a permit to paint. So, that's what the new ordinance states. I know where you're going with that, because the previous ordinance, the way it was written, you did have to bring it here, you did have to follow the palette, and that's how it was. I think
And
that,
all the guidelines we're following all have paint. discussion. But I think we're stretching it. I think what we're saying here is that we don't have any jurisdiction over the color of an item that comes before this board, that is not what the ordinance says. The ordinance, as you just explained, says that if any of us with properties in a historic district are maintaining our property and are painting it, then we don't have to come before the board. But if this item is before us, why should paint color be excluded?
I don't disagree with you. I agree with you.
Okay,
I have no problem with that.
okay.
And in defense of the applicant, they are
They are
maintaining the color.
proposing it,
Yeah,
yes.
so-
We took into consideration, I mean,
Sure.
and I have no experience with the district, I was clueless prior to this job. But it's something that I suggested to the customer, and I always do that with other customers in different parts of town, only because, you know, eventually they might wanna sell, and you don't want something to be a sore thumb, you know, so.
Sir, do you want to make a presentation to the board? You should stand and.
If you'd like to open a public hearing, that way you can have a discussion.
Yes,
Okay.
please, I'd like to hear a motion to open the public hearing for HD 007-2022.
So moved. Second.
Motion and second, all in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Would you please approach and give us your name and your,
Speaking to this mic?
yes, please.
Okay, so my name's Isaac, I'm the representative for this, proposed carport.
And your last name is
Pettis?
Betts.
Yes. So basically, I'm with the Structura Laredo. We're a small operation and we provide metal structures for shade, whether it's fabric or steel. We've been in business for a couple of years. We wound up, well, Miss Leindecker, Miss Gutierrez, she wound up contacting us because she liked a job that we built back in 2015. And so she came up to me with the whole concept of retaining or carrying that same design, you know, that historic design. So then I told her, okay, well, let's follow the arch on that gate entrance. So then, you know, I presented it to her and she agreed, though I didn't know that I had to come to the historic board. And so, as far as the materials, we wound up agreeing on the same type of arches as that previous carport that was up here on the screen. And so, well, basically that's what I have. I mean, so I always try to consider that, you know, I always try to maintain the aesthetics of the property, because, I mean, I've seen countless jobs around town that it's, you know, it's under par. I mean, it doesn't look nice. So, being that it's a old house and it looks nice, you know, I just wanted to build something that I can be proud of, and, you know, people can see it, and if they like it, they can build one too.
I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
The color you're proposing, is it just for the structure or for the roof covering?
Well, actually, thanks, that's a great question, thanks for that. So basically, the whole structure, at the moment, we're gonna paint it to match the windows, right? Which is basically close to the wall color. On the roof, though, we're gonna carry the galvanized steel for the time being, and we'll see how it looks. But we're gonna stick between those cutters, because the metal, there's a metal roof in the back, which is galvanized. So we wanna see if it's gonna work, but yes, at the moment, those are the cutters that we're sticking to. Other than that, I mean, I don't think we should deviate too much from the principal concept, right? So,
Are there any more questions for Mr. Bettis?
No,
No?
not for me.
Thank you very much. If anyone is interested in making a motion, you can close the public hearing at the same time.
Close the hearing.
Close the hearing, and are you willing to make a motion on the item at the same time?
I am.
Okay, go ahead.
I move that we approve the item as presented.
I'll second that.
There's a motion and a second to approve the request under application HD 007-2022. All in favor of the motion?
Aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you very much. Yes.
Like, I got my guys working, so I got to get everything.
Yes.
So
Thank
that's
you.
the biggest thing.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Vanessa?
Can I go?
No. What happened to the one from last time? Did they just give up? Did they just quit? Because this is not the one that was here
Right.
last time.
Madam Chairman,
Yes, I'd
the
like to.
item proceeded to City Council at Monday's meeting
Oh,
and
okay.
was favorably disposed of. They were approved.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Okay. Just like PNZ. Making.
So that one, just to give you an update on that, because we've had some questions on it.
It's
So,
not on the agenda, so we can.
well, okay, so just, not to take action, but just an update. That gray and pinkish look that it had, that had a lot of gaps. It was presented to y'all in April of 2021, and he was proposing to seal those gaps because the water was seeping in and getting to the rebar. So they were gonna seal it and then come back and paint. So they just started painting. So we had a bunch of people thinking that you all just recently approved that, and I said, no, this goes back, but they just started doing that. So they're sealing the building right now, but if you have had any questions about that, just a reminder, because we had to look it up because I didn't know. But they'll be painting the building white, but it's to secure all the cracks in it. So,
Definitely. I'm getting a lot of questions and complaints about how dare we have allowed us to change the look of that historic house.
But with the way the ordinance is written right now, they could have done it either way.
Very true, because it's maintenance.
You know, and that's the thing. It's, yeah, people are shocked,
yeah,
and it's like, well, whether it would have gone through Landmark Board or not, they would have been able to do
and they
it.
tried looking for the right coloring to try to match it, and they couldn't do it, so it was gonna be spotty when they were done with it.
Was it
So that's
approved with that color?
Yes.
With the white, yes.
Yes.
So that's what happened with that one.
So it's
So
white now?
it did, and I've been telling people that they showed pictures of some of the damaged masonry and how really a lot of people have painted brick buildings because the brick itself starts to get porous and needs to be preserved.
Yeah.
But people don't believe me, so I guess
Yeah.
we have to, I guess that's why you're getting calls. So, do we have a presentation, item 7A? I
No,
know
ma-
the gentleman has also been here twice to make his presentation and
Yes, and in
had no
fact-
quorum.
He was scheduled to speak to the Economic Development Committee, which is right next door, and he's in there doing the same talk that he was supposed to do here, so they beat us to the punch. So we're gonna keep it on the agenda so that he keeps it on his schedule, so he will come, you know, that's the best we can do. He's all over the place.
Okay, so you're saying he'll come at our
Yes.
next meeting?
Yes, hopefully, yes.
Okay, very good.
Schedule permitting, of course.
Yeah, scheduled for meeting.
Okay, so as we saw in the minutes, we were interested in seeing changes to the ordinance language. And so it has not been put back on the agenda, and so we have not been able to discuss it.
No, and that's gonna have to, I mean, if you, Madam Chair, if you'd like to speak to the representative at City Council, so they can direct it to come back, that's the best way to do it, because it doesn't go this way, it comes back to us. And you all are more than welcome to talk to your city council person to get them to put it on our agenda to do it, so city management can direct us to bring it to you all. And, I mean, a phone call, is what it would take. I mean, if you could do the favor of doing that, then by all means, we can bring it back.
But
Well, am I-
officially, we
yeah.
cannot do that, right? I mean, you're saying through our
Do-
council person?
Yeah, have the council person, talk about it or direct management for us to review it, or somehow do it like that, because they already voted on it. So it has to come directly from them, because I guess the confusion is in talking to them is it was sent, the ordinance was sent to them, with a unanimous vote. And so to bring it for us to bring it back, it's like, why are you bringing it back? Y'all voted on this already. You know, y'all approved it. And so we need to get back to council to discuss it so that we could, so city management can bring it this way. And I could talk to the city manager also and just ask him what he wants to do with that. But the previous city manager, which was Mr. Eads, didn't want to bring it back. So, but we have a new city manager, and so I could discuss that with him, but it would help if, to see what they want to do with it. I don't disagree, I mean, we can definitely do it, but if there's just the way it gets to us, you know, we can't, we can present the ordinance so you all can see the ordinance, but we can't change the ordinance because that is a city council function. But if they are willing to allow you all to review it and recommend, absolutely, we can do that, definitely.
So, I know that we don't have an item on the agenda to vote. Can we poll the board, about its feelings, even though the item's not on the agenda?
About what?
If, right now, we're in staff report and communications,
Yeah.
so,
But I don't think we can vote.
no, you can't
No,
vote on it, but,
I'm not, but I
Polling?
just think that we need to, I mean, I feel like I'm the only one who wants to make these changes. And I don't wanna go and approach a city councilman or councilwoman or or the mayor about something that the rest of you aren't gonna support, because it doesn't make any sense, you know, if I'm the only one who wants to make changes. But if you look at just today's item, as Ms. Davila Villarreal mentioned, if they had wanted to change the color of the Benavides house, or the color of the Volpe house, or change their windows or doors, which would completely affect the character of that building, we would have no input, no ability to talk to the property owner about what their plan is, or how we could encourage them to do the right thing. Because the way that the ordinance is now written, that's considered maintenance and does not require a building permit.
The question is if we are generally interested in revisiting the ordinance.
Yes.
I thought we'd already,
Well, I know that there's
So you-
several council members that have approached, not necessarily me, but somebody at my organization, and asked also what was going on with that home, and that they were outraged that that was happening. So that house obviously hit a nerve, and it shows the importance.
yeah, that one was approved here.
Yeah, no, I know,
So,
but that's a
that was the
good.
old ordinance.
Yeah, but that is, that basically shows now that people do care what the neighborhood looks like. Although sometimes you hear like, oh, it's too strict or whatever, it shows that they do want some sort of guidance because it's important to them. So, I mean, I do support Ms. Sepulveda, in that, I do support Ms. Sepulveda going, to our council members and trying to see if we could just at least change it, back to similar to what it was, because I mean, I've always supported the fact that I didn't think that it was right.
And I know we voted on it, it's on one of the minutes, right, to consider changes. But are we serious about that, and is it appropriate for us to do what has just been explained as the process? Go backwards from city council down?
so back here, I'm trying to figure out what we do now, but the idea would be for us to contact our individual council members and
We can,
ask them to, or is that
we can,
not the basic issue?
yes.
Mhm.
Or we can approach one council person
To put it
that
on
has
the
a-
agenda.
yes, to put it on the agenda, that has a specific interest. And in this case, it would be Councilwoman Cigarroa,
Mhm.
right? Since she oversees that neighborhood, or the historic districts, several historic districts. So are we all still in agreement?
Yes, I mean, I have no problem in speaking with her,
Good.
bringing it up, so.
Great.
Great.
Very
something
good.
as important as paint color, I'm surprised, that's surprising that something like that would have been taken away from our purview.
Well,
It was a
you know,
big
for
deal.
me, paint is something that can change over time. It's not a permanent change, but if you're gonna remove historic material like doors and windows or awnings or something that's part of the architecture or the significance of that building, then why are we here if we're going to allow that because that doesn't require a building permit?
I wasn't here when the ordinance was changed, but, I read that it was unanimous by everybody, so I don't know.
It wasn't unanimous here. We proposed a change in the language. And
That's what I read.
Mr.
It's
Snyder
unanimous with the proposed
chose
amendment.
not to present our language change.
Apologies, but that's incorrect. He did have it on the agenda where it indicated the proposed changes that you all suggested.
But he recommended approval of his own wording.
Yes.
That's correct.
Yes.
And that's exactly how the
He
process
ignored
is
our
supposed to go.
recommendations and he made a one-line comment that we had proposed different language.
That's exactly how it works for all committees. We present your recommendation. That's how it
Our
goes from planning and
recommendation was
zoning.
not presented. His recommendation was
No,
presented.
your recommendation was presented and identified that you had recommended amendments. And that's how exactly the recommendations from planning and zoning are presented to council. If they, recommend an amendment to either conditional use permit or whatever zone change, that is presented. But the case goes forward as it was presented to P and Z, but the recommended change is identified exactly as we identified yours.
So they recommended to pass it,
They had recommended to pass it with amendments,
pass it,
and that was what was presented.
So that's the confusion that I have.
Right.
Like, well,
Right,
it should have been voted down, and that way the recommendation to council would have been
Without
staff is recommending amendments, but the committee voted against that.
Well, we wanted to support what we thought his general objective was, to make the process easier for the public, to make it more accessible to people.
I can see that.
But the way it was done was not correct. He went a little too far. So, we don't have to vote since we voted previously, but.
No, but it's communication, and we can communicate that to Councilman Cigarroa.
Good. Thank you.
Just do that. Okay.
And so, well, I guess we can provide her with our minutes, Mr. Gonzalez, or something that shows her what we're concerned about?
Yes, yeah,
Great,
I have a good idea on what
thank you.
the issue is.
Okay. So, since we do not have 7A presentation, we would like to table that for a future meeting. Is that,
Yes, please.
do we need to vote on that or not?
Yes, it'd be safer if we just vote on it to
Okay.
table.
So maybe we can combine a motion to table item 7A and adjourn the meeting if there's no further business.
I so move.
Second.
Motion and second. All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed?